Today is the great solemnity of Saints Peter and Paul. Peter, who was named Simon, as you know, was a fisherman and was introduced to the Lord by his brother, Andrew, who was also a fisherman. Jesus gave Peter the name Cephas, Petrus in Latin, which means rock, because he was to become the rock upon which Christ would build his church. He was a bold follower, the first to recognize that Jesus was the Messiah. He also made some mistakes, losing his faith when walking on water with Christ and betraying the Lord on the night of his passion. And in spite of it all, he was chosen to be Pope number 1. If you read the Acts of the Apostles, you see that he was the head of the church after the resurrection and the ascension of Jesus. He led the apostles as the first pope and ensured that they kept the true faith. He spent his last years in Rome, leading the church through persecution, and eventually he himself was martyred in the year 64, being crucified upside down at his own request because he claimed he was not worthy to die as his Lord. He was buried on Vatican Hill, and St. Peter's Basilica is built over his tomb. St. Paul, was the apostle of the Gentiles. His letters are included in the writings of the New Testament. Before receiving the name Paul, which means little, by the way, he was called Saul, a Jewish Pharisee who zealously persecuted Christians in Jerusalem. As a matter of fact, if you read the Bible, it says that Saul was present at the martyrdom of St. Stephen. And we all know the story about his conversion. He was on his way to Damascus to persecute some more Christians, and all of a sudden he was surrounded by this great light from heaven. He was blinded and fell off his horse, and then he heard the voice, "Saul, Saul, why do you persecute me?" And he answered, "Who are you, Lord?" And Jesus answered, "I am Jesus, whom you are persecuting." So he continued to Damascus. He was baptized, and his sight was restored. He took the name Paul and spent the remainder of his life preaching. He was imprisoned and taken to Rome eventually, where he was beheaded in the year 67. He is buried in Rome in the Basilica of St. Paul, outside the walls. As a matter of fact, if you go to our international college, the Seraphicum, just down the street is the Abbey of the Three Fountains, and that is the spot where St. Paul was imprisoned and beheaded. So take a look if you have a chance, and if you get a better chance, go and visit not only the Seraphicum, but the Basilica, the Abbey of the Three Fountains. In a sermon of the year 395, St. Augustine said of Saints Peter and Paul, both apostles shared the same feast day, for these two were one, and even though they suffered on different days, they were as one. And so we celebrate this day, made holy for us by the apostles' blood. Let us embrace what they believed. Saint Peter, the rock, and St. Paul, the little one, but gigantic in faith. God bless you.